Okay. Okay. Welcome everybody to the show. This is the NWO show, your source for everything New World. Obviously today has been just a batshit crazy day. So, wow, this has been a long one. Here's what happened. New World posted a thing on an internal forum that got leaked. It's now all over the place. It was an incomplete statement. It was truncated, and it was, obviously not what they intended to be out there, because obviously they didn't release it in the public. They put it behind the. Is there an echo? Wonder if the other mic is picking me up. It might just be the room. A bit of an echo. Why is there an echo? I don't know why there would be an echo. That's why. There we go. Okay. No, it's all good. I appreciate it. So, yeah, apparently I had my daily drivers still had their the mic on. So New World posts this thing on the internal forums, internal patch notes, and says, "Hey, we're gonna start testing this internal, cash shop, cosmetics and stuff like that, and we may, keyword here, because you want to leave room for flexibility when you're operating a business and you're talking with the public. We may put in things like XP boosts that'll help people along as quality of life and etc." Okay, so instantly the world loses its fucking mind and goes down the road of oh my god, it's pay to win, oh the humanity, it's chill. We don't even know that yet. We have 2 sentences, and everybody failed to read the second one. That's basically like, we're 100% against pay to win. Like, that's basically the summary of the second sentence. But everybody reads, oh, we're gonna do this thing, and then they'll like shit their pants. And it's like, hold on. There's an intention statement immediately after it. And it's like, okay, it is what it is. That's Now, I'll be the first one to say, hey, if they cross a line for pay to win, then yeah, let's grab the pitchforks and all that. But like, we're not there. We don't know enough about this. We don't know what's going to be in there. But what has come out is that on launch, they will not have any of those boosts that they talked about. There's no, accelerated XP. There's no, none of that's going on at launch. Now, they might add it in later, but gonna put this out there. Who can name a game that doesn't have a catch-up mechanic in it? Anyone, literally. EVE Online, even actually, you know what? Let me dive away for that for a second. Let's talk about subs versus buy-to-play and free-to-play, because this has been a huge topic today. People are saying, oh, well, they should have just done it a subscription model because that would have just saved us all a lot of money. What? Like, yeah, like in chat, World Final Fantasy, ESO, I'd say Black Desert on that, but like, I mean, let's be real, that whole game is pay to win. Shit, World of Warcraft, I was looking at their site earlier today, it literally, and I've got this up, they will sell you a level 50 booster that you can take a brand new character and boost it to level 50 for $60. What's the rage? This is the rest of the industry. Like, you're mad that like AGS is like, we might do something that the rest of the industry has basically proven works and pays? fuck, like, and then from the perspective of, subs versus buy to play. Subs versus buy to play. Let's consider this. If a sub model worked the way that it was supposed to, you would never see again, never in the history of gaming, you would never see a subscription model game with a cash shop at all. And yet, what do we have? EVE Online literally sells skill points, literally sells cosmetics, literally sells catch-up mechanics, literally sells all of these things. That's $15 a month. It's okay, let's do the math here. It's 15 times 12 is what, $180 a year? If you're paying month to month in EVE Online? So if you're going to get a cash shop in a subscription-based game, and you're going to get a cash shop in a buy-to-play or a free-to-play game, one of these is going to drip you out of $180 a year, plus the microtransactions. And the buy-to-play model is going to get you for 40 or 50, and then whatever microtransactions after that. Are you really going to spend $150, $140 on microtransactions in a year? I haven't. In any game that I've played. If you have even the modest amount of self-control, you won't. And it's like, they would like it to be the Eastern MMO industry standards. Anybody who makes games would love it to be the Eastern MMO standards. Those titles make a crap load of money, but they also have no longevity because they go crazy with the microtransactions. It's like, we know that if you go too heavy with the microtransactions and too heavy with the pay to win, the game doesn't have longevity because people's wallets aren't that deep. They can't keep paying in to pay for, keeping up at the bleeding edge of the content. It's not going to happen. Now, New World, we don't even know what the cash shop is going to look like. We don't know where they think the line should be. We just know that, hey, they might consider doing something. Oh my god. Oh, the humanity. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is what I've been watching all day, and it's like, just relax until we actually get, like, an actual official statement of what the store is gonna look like. What's gonna be in there. And what we know right now, 100% right now, is that on launch, they're not going to have any kind of pay-to-win. They're only in the cash shop. To be clear, at launch, all of the items in the shop will be focused on cosmetics. There will be no boost of any type for sale at launch. We will share more of our vision for MTX in the near future. It's like, what? Like, fundamentally speaking, boom, there it goes. And then people on Reddit are arguing, oh, hey, it's crazy to even think that we could possibly have this on launch. But then they're like, oh, hey, like, if it happens like a month or two down the road, it's fine. Because it's only an advantage in the first, like, 2 weeks while everybody's, charging to level 60 and trying to get to the end game. Then it's like, oh, hey, just let our friends catch up. Like, a lot of people seem okay with that. Now, some people are like, oh, it diminishes my experience of having to level, the hard way. Well, I still get to know that I did it for not paying money. I still get to have that experience of learning the game while I do it. It's not, I can hope that they're not going to go the full direction that, World of Warcraft has gone. Literally, as I said, World of Warcraft, quite literally, you can buy a straight-up booster that brings you up to level 50 from level 1. Brand new player. Boom. Like, and you got people like Asmongold giving New World shit? Are you kidding? The face of freaking World of Warcraft is gonna give New World shit for pay to win? Like, bro. Now, and of course, I don't blame anybody for jumping in early. Like, you know, there was some content creators who launched some stuff immediately and were like, hey, ride the wave, because they weren't expecting a press statement shortly after from Amazon that's literally, hey, cool your jets. Like, we're aware of the concerns around the storefront testing. We're currently doing an alpha. To be clear, at launch, all of the items in the shop will be focused on cosmetics. There will be no boost of any type for sale at launch. We will share more of our vision for MTX in the near future. New World will have an MTX shop. New World is a live service game that will receive patches, updates, new features, and content, and our intention for our game is to continue to grow over time. We'll address these concerns and more elaborately as soon as possible. Dana, I 100% agree. He reacted to Kira's video, and my problem is that nobody waits for more information. Nobody. I feel like I'm one of the few people in the community who's sitting here and they're like, just hold. Like, every time this comes out, it's just hold on. There's got to be something else here. There's like, and every single time it's come to be true that, hey, all of a sudden it's, hey, clearly they've got a plan for this. We don't know everything that they're doing behind the scenes. And for years, they haven't done this. They haven't even talked about the cash shop other than, they've confirmed that they don't want to do any kind of microtransactions, or not any kind of loot boxes, and they don't want to do, nobody wants all the information. They just want the clickbait. Yeah, 100%. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, I'm playing, I don't want to say I'm playing cleanup, but I'm the freaking janitor over here on the subreddit, and we got to the point where we're, as a mod team, we're like, screw it. This is out. We're not, there's no containing this. Sure, it's ND8, but boom, and I say janitor with, all respect to janitors, but, there's no glory in being a Reddit mod. For anybody who is curious about that, there's no glory of any kind. You get shit on all day, you get threats, you get etc., you get just completely crapped on. And your one hope at the end of the day is that maybe, just maybe, you made the community slightly more bearable to be with. Exactly. And without janitors who will clean up all the barf. That's the reality. Now, at launch, the pure fact that they're talking about the possibility is a little bit disappointing. Now, I understand that sentiment. I do. I would love a game to not have any kind of pay to win whatsoever, that the only thing that you could buy is some cosmetics, and yeah, I can guarantee you get nothing for being a Reddit mod. There are honestly times where you sit there and you're like, is this worth doing? Yeah. So I wish that the gaming community and the gaming industry was not where it is right now. I wish that you could sit there and get and I'm right there with you. I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. I would love for the new standard in gaming to be, you buy it, and we go back to 2000s where you bought the game, you got every expansion for free, you got all the future content, and all of this stuff was unlockable in-game. I would love to go back to that. Don't get me wrong. That is what I would painstakingly ask them to do. Let's strive for that again. But I'm also a realist. It's not going to happen. I know it's not going to happen, so I've accepted that. And unfortunately, over the years, the gaming community and gaming industry have accepted things like catch-up mechanics, and other microtransactions and cosmetics and all of that. It is what it is. It's highly unfortunate, but it is what it is. That's the rest of the community. You look at World of Warcraft, you look at ESO, you look at Final Fantasy, you look at Black Desert Online. You know, combined, that's what, 5 million players, 15 million players probably. You know, like what community? No one except somebody did. People are paying those things. They're making it a reality. That's the unfortunate part. Like, you know, at any point in time, if you bought any cosmetic, if you bought anything as a microtransaction, unfortunately, that's how it is. I wish that it wasn't. I really wish that it wasn't. But that's just how it is. You know, now, stomping and saying, you know, Amazon should be the one to break the mold. 100% they should. Are they gonna? Do they have a financial incentive to not? Maybe we can prove to them that, hey, you know, we can make this financially viable off of just skins, or, you know, and you know, try and cut out and try and draw the line as a community, and maybe they'll listen to us that, hey, the line needs to be drawn at a very specific spot. Yeah. You know, and I, as I've said, I would love a subscription-based model game that actually didn't have a cash shop at all. If it solidly did that, like 100%, you pay and you never have to pay anything other than the subscription, and there was no cash shop, then that would be the best model ever. I would love that. But unfortunately, even games that do have a subscription have a cash shop. EVE Online, $15 a month. Massive cash shop. They literally sell skill points. Like, I wholeheartedly wish that was a thing. Wholeheartedly. You know, Ambient, ESO, all of them. Every single one of them's got a freaking cash shop. If it's got a subscription, it's got a cash shop. Now, if the two were divorced, where you could have a subscription-based game and not have a cash shop, and you know, the buy-to-play and the free-to-play had cash shops, then of course, go with the subscription game. Like, boom, done. But the reality is, unfortunately, the reality is that the cash shops happen in the subscription-based games. They happen in the buy-to-play games. They happen in the free-to-play games. And that's just the reality. It's a cold, hard truth, and it's a bitter pill to swallow at this point for the gaming community. It sucks. And I realize I'm drifting like further and further out of frame. But like, you know, I just don't know. You know, I just don't know what we could have expected. We knew that there was going to be skins in the cash shop. We knew that there was going to be a cash shop. Any game that has skins is going to have a cash shop. Like, it's virtually guaranteed. We knew that it was a buy-to-play game, so they need some kind of reoccurring revenue. So, you know, a cash shop for cosmetics would be the route to go. Now, here's my hope. Knowing all of these things, here is my wholehearted hope for how this turns out. And this is entirely speculation. My hope is that we get something like EVE Online, where you have the premium currency that can be bought and then sold in-game to other people to buy cosmetics and stuff like that, or to buy, you know, boosts or what, or, you know, if that ends up being a thing. You know, at least people who play the game can then get that benefit. Maybe that's the line we draw. I don't know. You know, but something. Yeah, assuming every MMO had intrusive cash shops and a quality MMO came out without one, then people would be more apt to migrate. I agree. But unfortunately, there hasn't been a financial test case for a business to do that. Amazon might do that. Like, they've got the money. They could potentially be that test case. But, you know, yeah. Now, according to their statement, hey, on launch, there will be no boost of any type for sale at launch. You know, and we're going to hear more. So, like, we're going to get more information on this. We're going to follow up on it. You know, it doesn't surprise me that Amazon was on the ball within, you know, like an hour and a half this morning of things going haywire. That they had a response both here 3 hours ago, and they also had responses up on Twitter a few hours ago as well that say the same thing. To be clear, at launch, all of the items in the shop would be focused on cosmetics. There'll be no boost of any type for sale at launch. You know. Now, the reality is, like, let's consider this long term. The reality is, they might add something like an XP boost. And maybe we can get them to draw the line right there. Like, hey, it's obviously not a good idea for them to do, you know, specific boosts for, you know, crafting skills and stuff like that. That is a terrible idea because that actually impacts the market. That impacts the market really, really heavily. Volume needs to be like tripled. That's odd. Why is it being so weird? Maybe turn up your volume. I don't know. Other people are saying it's fine, so I don't know. I don't wanna jack the gain up just to. But like, you know, if they did crafting skill bonuses, that jacks up the entire market, because in order to level those things, you have to build things. You have to go out and farm a lot of stuff. You have to spend a lot of gold and taxes. Like that's pay to win, like 100%. Like, you know, like you're getting ahead real far. Like, yeah, you know. Now, raw XP, you know, fundamentally speaking, a lot of people would argue that the game starts at level 60. You know, the grind to level 60 is fun. Like, there's a lot of quests, there's a lot of things you can do, there's a lot of things, and people saw a lot of stuff. You know, you just saw us post the content for the expeditions. You know, the expedition content was great. You know, hopefully we see more. We know that there's 4 of them now, and they announced that there's going to be 6 on launch. You know, that's, you know, there's good content to be had on that way to level 60. When you get to level 60 is when the game is really going to shine. You know, now, let's say, you know, having the discussion about launch, knowing what we know now, you know, and I want to discount that. Knowing what we know now, that there is not going to be any kind of boost at launch, then there's no real worry about anybody getting ahead of anybody else, you know, in an undue way, for launch. From there, months, years down the road, the discussion becomes, hey, I got a friend who just started. You know, they don't want to spend, you know, or they don't have the time to spend. I saw this study the other day. 8 hours and 27 minutes. 8 hours and 27 minutes is the average weekly time. Or is it average? I think it's weekly. Yeah, here it is. 8 hours and 27 minutes. That's how long the average gamer plays a week. So, that's not a ton of time. Like, and that's the average. So you got a lot of people that play less than that. You know, and I'm not talking to my ass. That's Tech Republic. You know, Um, I'll post this in the chat so people know I'm not just like pulling stuff out of my ass here. Um, that's the reality. That's some people just don't have that much time. Then you got people like me, people like many of the people in the audience right now who are gonna spend 5 times that, you know, like because like gaming is our passion. Like gaming is the thing that we put a lot of time into. You know, I just got done with a 26-hour game session. I know the feeling. Like I went to bed really late last night. I got up early this morning. And I'm gonna be gaming until late tonight. Like that's my reality. But I got friends who want to play the game with me, but if I'm level 60 and it takes them at 8.5 hours, God knows how many weeks to level up, 8.5 hours or less, and I'm doing all this level 60 content. It's gonna be real hard to get people to play with me, or like friends to play with me and stuff like. And down the road, it's been a consistent thing that hey, we're gonna boost people through, and like that's a thing that just happens. Um, but yeah, like everybody knows that there's always like one of the most popular things on every game has been how to power level your character so you can get to the end, like or how to power level your characters so that you don't have to spend so much time grinding. There are some people who love the grind. Like as somebody who played Warframe for years, a game that is entirely about the grind. There is no end game in Warframe. It is just continue to grind. That is your entire purpose in that entire game, is just continue to grind. And sure, you'll get into things like Fashion Frame, where you start selling Prime stuff to other people so that you can buy certain things to make your character look better. Great. And if that's how they can get the cash shop to work in New World, more power to them. I would actually love that. I'd love to be able to sell cosmetics and stuff like that. Because then there's going to be an in-market, in-market, here's what it's worth, here's what the community deems it's worth. I'm a big fan of the open market on that front. It's the same in EVE Online. Prime parts in Warframe is the same deal. The community set the price. It is what it is. Yeah, if you want to make a one-size-fits-all game, then don't make a grindy MMO. That's fair. I would like to note that like this XP thing, like specifically, and I've already stated that like the crafting XP and stuff like that is obviously over the line, but the regular XP, like, let's be real, even Assassin's Creed at one point literally sold an XP multiplier for a single player game. Like, that's what the gaming community has gotten to. Now, of course, there were creative ways to get around that, where you could run community missions that like just gave you XP. But like, it was silly, and you look at World of Warcraft, you look at all these games, yeah, Assassin's Creed, they probably still do that, like, because some people just don't like that grind. It's unfortunate. Some people relish the grind. Again, going back to the Warframe reference, I mean, you can make the same argument about what. I don't know. Like crafting XP stands out because there's a other stuff that goes in that. Weapon XP, maybe. Territory standing, definitely not. Like, that's like, fundamentally you need to, you need to work to get that. Because there's other, like, major bonuses there. Because, like, as you level your territory standing, you get things like additional storage, additional XP, multipliers for the, for that region and things like that. It's definitely a slippery slope. Don't get me wrong. Like, and you got games out there that have been careening down that slope for a while. Like, I don't want to rail on World of Warcraft too much here, but like, World of Warcraft, the industry standard of MMOs, literally sells you the ability to just boom your character's level 50 now. Like, oh, you wanted to play Shadowlands content? Here you go, level 50. No grind at all. Like, we're not even saying like here's the thing about boosts. Like, here's the thing about boosts. Like, you still have to put in work. It's not as much work. And like, people will argue that, hey, there's certain people that will feel that their work was diminished because you got there faster by doing something by paying, but their wallet also has more money than yours because they didn't pay for it. There's that thought process in my mind, at least. How can I play New World right now? You have to be randomly selected for the alpha. The beta starts in, I want to say, July 20th, and then runs until slightly before the actual launch. So unfortunately, like, unless you get picked by the random draw, there's no way to get in right now. But soon we'll be able to play. I'm sure that people actually want to like watch part of the game, so I'm gonna quick pull up. Generally, the draw appears to happen Tuesdays or Wednesdays, and it's based on them trying to keep a certain amount of people on the alpha servers. So it's been pretty wide variety. So I'm gonna leave this up. This is the expedition content from last time, but I'm just gonna leave this up as background. Fundamentally speaking, I don't think that anybody should be surprised by an announcement that there's going to be a cash shop. Because, I mean, like, I've said it on this stream a number of times that, hey, like, we know they're going to sell cosmetics because, like, the pre-order bonus is literally a skin. Like, from there, like, we don't know what else is going to be in there, but, like, you can assume they're probably going to follow the industry standards. If the industry standards are one thing, can we really blame them for not following for following the rest of the pack? Unfortunately, like, I don't think that we can really be, expect overly too much there. Like, now, have these mechanics killed other games? Is the other question. You don't see World of Warcraft dead for having instant paid leveled characters to level 50. I'm not advocating for that at all. I don't think that that's a good idea, and I have again will state that I hate the industry standard. I absolutely despise it, and I don't think that we should be here as a community, as a gaming industry. But I'm also a realist in that it's it kind of is what it is. Now, and that comment right there Should we blame them for making the industry standard worse and worse? You know, my hope is that maybe we can get Amazon to draw the line at a healthier spot than most other MMOs have. You know, if in a year's time we don't have, you know, paid instantly level to 60, they'll be better than World of Warcraft. If we don't have, a bunch of this stuff, what's worse than the industry standard? How is this worse than the industry standard? Quite literally, I just showed you, and I will pull it back up. Boom, World of Warcraft, $60, instant level 50 character. Like, that's how bad the industry standard is. Like, if we're afraid of people like getting ×2 XP multipliers or like, 10% multipliers, like, I use ×2 because that was the one that was in Assassin's Creed. But that's after, and I agree. Like, fundamentally, I agree. Like, these games over time are looking for ways to continue pulling in revenue and get people into the new content that they're developing. Now, I don't think that New World needs an XP boost. I really don't, and I'm not advocating for it. And this is where, like, I lose a lot of people on the Reddit. I have that argument that, here's what the rest of the industry is doing, and I'm just pointing out the logic behind it. Like, hey, here's what the rest of the industry doing from a business perspective. It's tried, it's true, it's reality. At launch, they know obviously based on their posting that they're not going to be able to do any kind of boosts. Like, but down the road, they add it in. Now, everyone has a different line for where that is drawn. For me, that line is, in terms of pay to win, is something that you cannot get from in-game through in-game effort. If I'm paying for convenience, it would be wholeheartedly what's the word for it? It would be going against everything that I built my EVE Online fortune on if I didn't say you couldn't sell convenience. I made trillions of ISK in EVE Online selling convenience, so it would be very counterintuitive to that. And I 100% agree. They could have cosmetics for days. They've got opportunity after opportunity. We shouldn't need to worry at all when it comes to this. Them adding the word may into that sentence wasn't "we're going to." Like, it's "we may down the road at some point." Like, like, they might. Maybe they do. Maybe in 6 months they go, hey, an XP weekend. Everybody gets more XP this weekend. And then they start toying with an XP multiplier for as a catch-up mechanic. Maybe that's what happens. But we already know at launch they're not doing any kind of boost. They're only doing cosmetics. And I wholeheartedly think that they have a lot of opportunity with cosmetics, and I wish. And this is where, like I was saying earlier, I want them to do like a Warframe, a mix of like Warframe dash EVE Online, where like if you buy something you can sell it, but also like people that just did in-game stuff can buy it from people who are just trying to pour cash in. Now, some people will be like, oh well, that's just pay to win because they can get gold for selling the stuff, and it's like, okay, well, I don't know. At least the content becomes available for everyone then. regardless of if they're in-game or not, and your in-game effort begins to matter and not just the size of your checkbook. And as somebody who made trillions of ISK in EVE, I could tell you that it's easy enough to make money in games using a market, even if you're not selling premium stuff. Like, and if this is where they just this is where we need this is where we need the patience as a community to wait for just what they're saying. Hey, we're going to share more about our vision about this, but we need to read the second line of what they put. And of course, I've got to go look it up. There it is. So this is the line that happens after that everyone seems to just like they lost their shit before reading this, and it's unfortunate. The follow-up, so I'm just going to read these three lines. We'll sell cosmetics in the form of item skins, dyes, company crest, and emotes. We may sell quality of life items. We don't know what those are, so let's not panic. Or boosts that help players improve their time spent leveling up their character and trade skill experience. Now, keep in mind that sentence has a may in it. So, there's that. From there, we're committed to keeping the competitive systems fair and balanced for all customers, and purchases will not provide a competitive edge over another player who chooses not to purchase additional items. That is the phrase that almost everyone excluded from their coverage on this that really kind of annoys me, because that shows intent. Now, from a business perspective, let's consider their motivation. Their business perspective is, hey, this game does have to make money, which is a sad truth when it comes to all games, is that these devs do have to get paid somehow. Eventually somebody wants their money. It's not Bezos anymore. It's Jazzy, or Jazzy. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Either way, eventually he's gonna come ringing and go, AGS, what's going on that we still haven't made a profit? That's the reality there, is that they appear to have drawn the line as well. No, I agree that there should be some red flags, like, hey, every time this comes up in other games, eventually they cross a line, and as I've stated, there just about every game out there has managed to cross those lines. But maybe, and this is, and the fact that they say may sounds like they're, and I agree. Like, this was very clearly a crafted statement. It's very clearly focused at, hey, this is something we're thinking about doing. Maybe it was something that they wanted feedback on beforehand. There's a reason. There's a reason that this was posted in an NDA'd forums area. Like, not a place that was public. People just leaked this. Like, maybe they were like, hey, let's start talking about this. Like, let's, we're going to start setting up the shop because, it's that time. Like, we're getting close to launch and we want to make sure that this works. And it was naive to think that this wouldn't leak. Like, but maybe they were just sitting there and they're like, hey, like, when they see the whole vision, like, it'll be clear, like, maybe they are altruistic and, like, everything that we hope that they are. And this is the internal optimist in me after 3 years working with these guys, that, like, I have seen them bend over backwards. You guys have seen in the patch notes, word for word, patch note comparisons to player feedback in the preview, that, hey, They are listening to the players. They fundamentally listen. They fundamentally care. They play the game. In the announcement from Scott, he said, "Hey, we've been playing with you. I know they've been playing with us. Here's a video of me playing with them." Quite literally, they play their game. They care about their game. One of the reasons I left EVE Online was that I felt the developers didn't care anymore. They actually had to post, "Hey, most of our devs don't play the game. Give us some time to learn the game so that we can understand what's wrong with it." They're playing the game. They give a shit. You know how rare that is? They've collected a group of people that actually give a shit. And that's what gives me hope after years of watching them follow through on feedback. It might take time because a lot of this stuff takes time. And they still come up, but again, this is the industry standard. Like they come up with this idea because this is what the industry has accepted. It's not like it's new to them. But they've also stated, and based on their thing, that hey, on launch, none of these boost things are going to be a thing. We're just going to do cosmetics on launch. They may add some stuff. They may, and there's a lot of conversation to be had between may and does. And based on the last almost 3 years of development of this game and being involved in every alpha, I can tell you that they take this feedback seriously. I'm sure they're looking through the comments and going, hey, what's our best way forward with this? They probably have a strategy, and they may have to relook at that strategy. But at least they're doing something. And yeah. Now, and here's the thing, and Nogs, I said this before, I too would love to pay a sub fee if the game didn't have a cash shop at all. Like everything was just, everything was just in the game, and that, you could just work towards it in game. 100% would pay for that. That said, name me a subscription-based game that doesn't also have a cash shop. Actually, name me a subscription-based game that not only doesn't have a cash shop, but doesn't have some kind of catch-up mechanic or XP multiplier or something like that. Like, it's highly unfortunate. Like, if the submodel worked the way that it was supposed to, it would be better. It would be the model to choose because, hey, we know that the classic WoW... Oh, do we want to talk about WoW? I'll bring up WoW again. This right here is $60 you can spend on World of Warcraft to get instant level 50 character. This isn't like an XP multiplier that you still have to go do some work. This is straight up, you are now level 50. Not classic WoW, but it's also still World of Warcraft. Like, still the same, still fundamentally the same game after like now in 2004, 2008. It probably wasn't a thing that the community needed. And I too am of the camp that we don't need an XP boost right now. We don't need an XP boost for the first couple of months. But am I going to be upset? Am I going to raise pitchforks if they do it, a few months in? Not really. And I know that, like, on depending on the subreddit, I'm either down 20, 40 votes, or breaking even with my opinions. Like, it is what it is. You know, yeah, YouTube Red. Selling no ad packs. Selling like they find ways to move that benchmark. Maybe, just maybe, we can get Amazon Games. Like, as a community, we're gonna have to push for this. Maybe we can get them to draw the line at the appropriate spot. And I'll put this back on, because can we talk about the Amorite Expedition feels right now? Fuck yes. Like, so, one, getting to talk with Junie and Calmaster was awesome. Like, these guys know their crap. Like, fundamentally, like, I love this game. Like, these guys know their game. They know their craft. They know what they're doing. For their sake, I can't say what they do, but they are part of the New World development team, and they're incredibly good guys. Junie is exceptionally good at PvP. He managed to take me down a few times. We at the end of my video version, I've got a bunch of duels with them where we're just shooting the shit and we're talking about some stuff, and some stuff that I'd like to see. Like one of the like super low key feedback points, and this is like super generalistic, and like people are going to be like, why is this something you care about? When it comes to push to talk versus like voice capture and all of that, like in the menus, there's always like a communications tab that's like, set it if it's push to talk or if it's, voice activated or whatever, and I'm always like, why don't they put the push, when you select push to talk, have a thing that pops up that's like, here's what your push to talk key is. Like, I've always thought it was funny that like almost no game does that. And I was like, hey, stupid small thing. And they were like, that's kind of a good idea. Like, like it was just kind of cool stuff. Like, they legit like actually cared about like what we were talking about. And I mean, there were other feedback points and stuff like that I've been talking to them about. And throughout this whole thing, there's a reason we play it with really low volume. It's because we've got like a long-term conversation. Like at one point we're down in the waterfall, and I was joking with him, and I was like, this whole time, like, I want to see something under waterfalls. So like during the preview, I looked under most of them. And then, like, once you get in the north, it was like, oh my god, there's actually a crate under the waterfall. So to see a crate under the waterfall in the expedition was actually, like, really cool. I need to fix this because, like, you guys are typing, like, super detailed stuff that's super long, and, like, my chat window is, like, that. So, like, I've tried to, like, scroll through it, and, serious question with the tank rule. I see that there is a threat meter for aggro on mobs, in an instance, understood, but here's the question. New World does PvP as well when defending your land. How would being a tank benefit on PvP, when you can, grab real player aggro, or most likely would you be able to have... So here's the deal about being able to be a tank. So when it comes to like taking, sieging a castle or defending a castle, you have to actually defend. Like you have to actually like stand on the point, like on the flag to defend it. So being a tank, being able to take that beating and hold it while your guys that are up on the ramparts, shooting down in, throwing fireballs and trying to help you out and skirting around the fight to deal the range damage, you get to be that guy that's like, I'm going to hold the freaking line. I'm going to be here and you know, be that frontline powerhouse that might not deal a ton of damage. But damn, you were going to be real hard to freaking kill. You know. So there is a threat meter. It is not a visual thing. However, your characters will generate a different amount of threat based on the gear that you're wearing that can actually lower or increase the threat. There are gems that lower and increase threat. There's actually like straight up gear perks that lower and increase threat. So like hard tanking can be a thing, but at the same time, like let's say I go super glass cannon. There are, you know, like the sword and shield I believe has like a taunt that can like really bring it in, really focus them in on you, but it only lasts a little while. And if I'm a glass cannon in the back and I'm dealing just a crap load of DPS, I might overdo your threat, and it'll change onto me. And you actually, in the last room of this invasion, you actually do see that where I was dealing way too much DPS, and the whole room switches to me. And as a glass cannon mage, I was like, oh shit, this is not where I want to be. Yeah, it's more like a table, but like it builds up and down over time. So like, you know, if I'm dealing more damage and I'm doing more things and I'm doing things to increase my threat level, it's kind of a gauge. You know, it's going up and down, but it's not something that you can physically see. There are ways to impact it though. And on a PvP side, like there's a lot of good ways and a lot of good reasons to be a tank. There's, you know, I think with the changes now that they've added in like the point level bonuses for getting into, you know, dexterity at 100 or 150, you know, you get a lot more bonus there to get a firm, you know, firm kind of yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. Like you get a firm, like, I'm missing the end of the sentence, guys, and it's been a day. Yeah, you can see it in the preview videos. How do you feel that IGN's group did not get past the first boss in the expedition? Really? Could somebody link that to me on Discord? I want to see that. Like, so there's this thing that like gaming news types are like generally just freaking awful. Just awful at gaming. Like there was one that did like Doom Eternal or something, and the guy couldn't like jump. Like he couldn't figure it out. So like, you know, it doesn't overly surprise me that like some of these gaming journalists are just truly terrible, because like over time they've just developed a reputation for being that bad. But it really, yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I think it's quite comical, like, because here's the thing: people that watch our stream the other day when we went live with this content, you know, right at the embargo, you know, people were like, "Wow, you guys made that look really easy," you know, and yet the other side of the spectrum apparently is IGN, who, you know, can't make it past the first boss. Hey, you know, that's I'm sorry, I've got like 3,000 hours into this game, so like, part of me is like, I don't see how you couldn't, but like, oh god. Especially with like a good healer, you know, like we had a good healer, like Cowmaster was healing for us, so like, it's comical that it's not. All right, we're gonna put this up because it's 4 minutes long. Okay, they skip ahead a little bit. Let me. 3 minute mark. Let's go a little bit before that. Here's why. Here's why. Look at their setup. So let's skip back here. You got sword and shield, sword and shield. There was a third sword and shield here. Sword and shield. So like, where's their healer? Like their healer is probably already dead. So like, this is where like, part of me is like, okay, yeah, I get it, but like the other part of me is like, they really like, you can't have 3 people tank. You got to have some DPS. And sword and shield is not necessarily where you're going to get that DPS. Like I don't know how these guys are, how they're spec'd out, but like versus us, we're in here rocking, musket, fire staff, life staff, or my bad, sword and shield, fire staff, life staff. Like, we've got a lot of DPS, and we've got a healer who really knows his crap. Like he very clearly understands the mechanics behind the life staff. Yeah, like I'm not based on their like setup there. I'm not surprised they all died. With life being like such an important commodity, that yeah. I feel like they got the not as good New World reps in their group as a joke. I mean, like, who it was? Let me double check this. Who was these guys? Tengar and Charles? No, they know their shit. Like, I think if I was one of them, I would probably. Looks like Tengar's alive in this one. Where's the other one? Where was their other one? Where's, like, I keep seeing, like, all the footage, but, like, Charles doesn't seem to be with them. Not crazy, right? Like, so, like, I mean, 3-manning it with 3 sword and shields, yeah, they all died. Like, like, New World isn't like a true, like, holy trinity, like, you need all of them to really make it work. Jamie, thanks for the sub. That's 11 months. Oh, 11 months. You're 1 month shy of our 1 year icon. Jeez. We've been doing this for over a year. Oh. Yeah, it is kind of crazy that we've been doing this for over a year now. Like, I don't know what to think about that. Wow, over a freaking year. Oh, yeah. All right. I suppose yeah. Let me just sit on a blank screen as I sigh into the distance. Let me get over here. None of that. Nope. Nope. That's not the one I want. That's not the one I want. All right. Go back to our version. Actually, because like. All right. So you can see that there's a bunch of different people that got invited to this, but fundamentally, like at the end, a couple people kind of took off. So like you saw, like Sir Medieval got a couple little extra content things that were interesting to see in his video, but like after we were done, we just sat around and chatted with the devs, and like you got Cali Gold over there, you got Redbird there, you got Miss Bliss, and a ton of the other devs are just kind of standing around watching. Really good guys to just have and chill with. And it was really kind of cool because like we kind of hit this point where we were like, oh hey, let's PvP a little. Let's have some fun. Because everybody's just kind of standing around and we're like, hey, there's a duel mechanic. Like, let's make this a thing. Trying to find a time where we actually are fighting here. Oh, here we go. He's taking on Redbird. So, spear versus lifestyle, or spear versus ice gauntlet. Yeah, this is when I start moving. Yeah, understatement of the century. So like, obviously, like I've played this quite a bit, so I know how to like. I know the animations right when they're about to happen, so I know right when to dodge that you become invulnerable for when the damage would be applied. And if you're real good, you can dodge out of most attacks. Let me actually load up. I'll load up my point of view for. That's not my point of view, apparently. That is my point of view, but it's a clipped version. This one. So the video quality is something I'm going to work on for the next one, but like this is going to be good enough because it's shrunken down. I recorded in 720 because I'm an idiot, and I intended to record it in 4K, but alas, there we go. Here we go. Here's the start of the fight here. It's a lesson for next time, is make sure my OBS settings are set up to set this up correctly and actually get like high quality footage when I don't have to stream it live. The challenge with moving around in this video is that it's an hour and 42 minutes long. So like a subtle click in either direction is like 5 minutes. So like you could skip over entire fights. That's why I misclicked and... Yeah, here we go. So this is me versus Cowmaster. At least your mic is on. Yeah, that's fair. As I just kind of waste mana and... So Cowmaster clearly knows his stuff, like he's clearly played, and we both counter with the Incinerate, and then we're far enough away that, you know, I've got him down to 1 tap, and it's like, okay, how am I going to get him? And I just Fireball. Boom. So, don't arrows move 10 seconds? I don't know what their actual speed is. I just know the, like, feeling of them coming towards you. Like I know it by feeling, I don't know it by the number. For anybody that thinks about this, like you'll watch a few of these duels and you'll be like, oh hey, like the Fire Staff seems pretty overpowered. Don't get me wrong, it was pretty powerful. But it also wasn't invulnerable. If you can keep range on a Fire Staff user and they can't use Incinerate, which is by far the most powerful ability on the Fire Staff, solely because on the Fire Staff, arrows, yeah, they do, don't they? In VLC, that's... See, this is why I have you guys. You know, so Incinerate has a perk on it that it can apply the damage twice to the same target, which really fundamentally changes how things work. Like the amount of damage, so like you can nuke people if you get on top of them as a Fire Staff player, but at the same time, if you've got enough points into intelligence to make it matter, you know, you're also going to be pretty squishy. So like if you're going against somebody who's a full tank, you know, they don't have to deal a lot of damage to kill you, but you're going to hope that you carve through a decent amount of them before they get on top of you. So you got a couple of abilities that are just kind of like tax them. You know, so like if you have like an AoE, like ooh, this one's a close one here. Is this the one that he beats me? Oh, look at that! Look at that! He's got like no health. He's got like no health. We were so close. Yeah, that was the one where Junie beat me, and like you could tell, like, hey, that was real close. You know, and it's that kind of thing. Like after 3 years of playing this game, that like if you're playing against a dev and you've got, you know, somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000 hours played, and the dev can still, you know, go one-on-one and still be competitive, you know they play. Like, yeah. So like this was honestly like one of the most refreshing parts of the entire event, and I don't think we had the opportunity to really share this too much. You know, because obviously like the real kicker for everything was like sharing the Amarin expedition, and getting all that stuff out. But like, this was a lot of fun. Just being able to like kick back, talk with them, and duel. Just cool stuff. So here's the rematch. You know, the defensive, like, I'm not going to let you near me without you taking, you know, some tax for getting hit. But he proves, hey, you know, if you get in close with a ranged weapon, you know, you're going to take some damage there. Boom. There it is. Incinerate dealing a crap load of damage. And you could tell that he was probably high dex build there. You know, so like being able to just like go in and be like, oh hey, that dealt a lot of damage. But like, had he have dodged out of that at the right time, he could have turned around and went, okay, you're basically neutered aside from your normal attacks. You know, gauntlet texture bug, yeah, where the outfit has turned frozen. Yep. Let's see, there's a bad incinerate going around. A little bit of a tax there. You know, hey, I'm gonna slow you. I'm gonna make your life hell here. Then I'm gonna drop this just to get a little bit of additional damage. You're gonna take your focus off of it, move away, so that you still take hits, but you're focused on me instead of it. You know, and then get in close and nuke. You know. What are your thoughts on the choice to switch factions? I think if you make the wrong choice, being stuck in it permanently would have been a bad idea. Being able to switch, but not switch to the group that has the most territory, I think is a good measure for the group that has the most territory is probably one of the best measures for who actually has a good amount of like really high-end players. Beyond the little stuff, you know, I think that's a good measure to base it off of. I think that the timeline, I think it was like, what, 120, 140 days or something like that. It's something over 100 days between like being able to switch factions. I think that is fair, because it's not something that you should switch often. Yeah, 120 days, you know. I think that is definitely something that you should switch often. For anybody that's curious, like, I'm starting to build up people in here, so like, for anybody that's curious, this was taken during the special event. You can see that in the top right corner. This isn't live gameplay from the alpha or anything like that. Like, this is just a recording from when we did the Amaran expedition. We got some PvP duels at the end with some of the devs, and wanted to show off that content as well here. You know, it's some good stuff. Eventually, here they're gonna. Hey, you can see all the different little chat icons that we're all kind of like chatting back and forth here. Oh, that's them wrapping it up. Let's go. There's another part that I want to show you guys. It's right at the end of the expedition. So I too have all of these. Hey, McLeod. You know, went through, looked at the map, all of that. So this is what I wanted to show. There is a trade mechanic in the game now, a secure trade between players, so you're not just dropping stuff on the ground like the preview. You drag the item over, you hit accept, so like, you hit lock in right here, and then once they accept, then you trade. So there's a lock-in step to prevent some shenanigans, or at least like the super easy shenanigans of like I'm gonna replace it with something crappy, or like I'm gonna change the money value last second and laugh as I run away. So like they thought about those things, they thought about how to implement that. So I appreciate that as a mechanic. Like it's funny. We have more viewers now than when I was ranting about pay to win, and how the community needs to just chill about pay to win because it's we don't know enough, and of course like now we've got double the viewers. Never mind, 8 of them just left. Hey, it's McLeod. Oh, I have, there you go. Now you're not muted. Wait, maybe you are. Where? What is going on? I don't understand. You shouldn't be muted. See, this is why we can't have nice things. Can the stream hear McLeod? Are they adding swimming? I don't know if they're adding swimming or not. I hope they do, but I don't know that they are. For now it's the walk on the bottom of the water like the preview. That would be nice. That would be very nice. Can people hear McLeod? McLeod, try talking now.
How about now?
There he is. All right, McLeod's joining us. Our awesome co-host. I'm assuming you don't want to be on video.
No. I thought, I'll forgo that and you won't have to deal with that. Anyway, what I said previously was maybe they'll add floating, depending on how where your weight class is, up to medium, but that's it.
Oh, so let's go back to the original discussion here. When I kicked off the stream, I kind of got to the point where I'm about an hour past where I wanted to go because I wanted to just get on and be like, today has just been like incredibly just a dumb day. Like, the community's up in arms over a May statement. We might do something, like, we don't know anything more than like a couple of sentences, and then like
but A's, whenever a company says may, they mean that they will do it, surely.
Yeah, surely this is absolutely craziness. Like,
Tesla may allow you to buy cars with Bitcoin. Yeah. Oh wait, no, they didn't.
Although I think you can buy with Dogecoin now.
To the moon.
Yeah.
Or you can buy moon ticks with Dogecoin. Maybe that's what he's trying to talk about.
Oh, like, so hitting back on it, the official news, and this isn't even so I'm going to start with the unofficial news, because the unofficial news is the leak. The leak is, hey, they in an alpha forum section of the patch notes, they went, hey, we're going to begin testing on our in-game store. It's going to have a few things in it. Let me pull up the actual statement. New World is introducing in-game purchases for special cosmetic items for players and their in-game homes. We will sell cosmetics in the form of skins, dyes, company crests, and emotes. We may sell quality of life items or boosts that will help players improve their time spent leveling up their character as well as trade experience. Now, there are parts of those sentences that I don't like. There are parts of those sentences that I don't really care about. And there's, unfortunately, like, being the realist that I am, like, as I've stated, and some of you guys have been here since, like, you know, since the last time we went through this, but, like, there's the reality of this is kind of just how gaming companies work. So expecting them to be different than every other gaming company in the aspect of, like, how finance works, is, like, what did you expect? Like, now we can hope that, hey, we can hold that barrier. Let's keep pay to win out of this. Let's, you know, hold the line. And maybe we can get them to do it. They seem like a company that's willing to listen. They seem like a company that gives a shit. So maybe we can get them to hold the line. But here's what gives me that hope. And this is the part that, again, nobody seemed to freaking cover. I say this, and I'm going to just, like, have the expedition going on in the background here. You know, here's the thing that nobody covered. The next sentence. We're committed on keeping the competitive systems fair and balanced for all customers, and purchases will not provide a competitive edge over another player who chooses not to purchase additional items.
Yeah, but May, dude.
Like, nobody felt that was important context to cover in their outrage. Whee! Like, that's going to be the clipped content, I guarantee it. You know, like, that. So there's that. Then they come out on Twitter and go, "We're aware that there are concerns around the storefront testing currently in alpha. To be clear, at launch, all of the items in the shop will be focused on cosmetics." So the initial worry is that, hey, a group is just going to buy these and they're going to accelerate all the way to the end and they're going to have the advantage right off the break and it's going to break everything.
Honestly, though,
not a problem.
Honestly, Ace, that statement is literally just the, you know, current MMO sort of PC games equivalent of, like, yeah, guys, don't fill plastic bags with gas. You know,
for anybody in the audience that feels like hoarding
PC
gas,
gaming equivalent.
Like, you're the
it's the PC gaming.
Like, yeah, like I agree with that as well. Like, you know, so there will be no boost of any type for sale at launch. You know, hoarding gas or resale. Like, you know, this whole gas thing, like, it's the same thing as toilet paper last year. You know,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
It's the whole reason we ran out is people went out and bought it in bulk, and, like, that's just not how stores work. They don't keep enough in stock for everybody to go buy it at one time, and then it messes with everything. You know, it's just crazy. If you join the Discord, we post the links in the Discord, the public chat there. Let me. There's a thing for this. There it is. There it is. For posterity. Context to cover in their outrage. Am I really sitting that far over? Context to cover in their outrage.
You don't really kind of get that you don't realize until you actually.
Here's the thing about the skinny cam is, like, you forget that, like, you can't really, like, exit the the box. You know?
But the other thing is, you also need to have a camera with like a wide angle lens, which you don't have
Yes,
yet at the moment.
yes. That is one
That
of the
does help.
challenges. Like, so I have a Canon M40, but the camera itself doesn't have like you need like a super wide angle lens. So like, to give you guys
And
perspective, like the camera, like you would think that like the camera is real close to me, based on like the perspective here. Like, you know, you would think maybe there's like, you know, 2 or 3 feet. My hand is still 2 feet away from the camera. Like, you
and
know,
apparently
it's far
the
away.
lens and apparently the lens required for it is you know, you need to remortgage your house in order to purchase
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Like, it's another like $500 for the super wide angle lens, and it's like that's how much the camera costs to begin with. You know, yeah. Uh, so I think it's sad that they announced the like that they might do some boosts of some kind. Like, I think that that's the sad part. But like, expecting them to not do any kind of cash shop, knowing full well that the you know, skins are part of the deluxe edition. Like, I feel like there was an expectation there that like affect all the alpha players now. I mean, not really. Like,
No, not really.
you know, I can't talk about the alpha, but like, you know, I don't believe so. Um,
I just think that there's definitely a lot of people who have gotten the wrong end of the stick, or kind of got swept up in the sort of like negative hype and stuff like that was going on. You know, you kind of need to step back and kind of take a fucking moment and actually read what was said, and rather than just read the bits that were kind of like, you know, drip fed to you by other people, you know, who you know, generally tend to have a less than negative view on Amazon games in general, because, you know, they may have been burned because they did dumb things.
Now, I want to hit on something again, just because like I don't feel like I hit it hard enough the first time, like an hour and a half ago. So you get somebody like Asmongold, who has a reaction video to Kara TV's thing. Um, you get somebody like him, who is broadcasting to a massive audience without really understanding the situation, who's gonna just exacerbate the problem, because like he doesn't have the official statement after the fact, and any of that information. So now there's a ton more people who are just like, you know.
But the thing is, we get, you know, why people watch Asmongold.
But
Like, he's
but here's
entertaining, right?
here's the kicker to this. Here's the kicker to this. You got Asmongold, the poster child of World of Warcraft, the guys who do this. This is a $60 pack that levels your character from 0 to 50 with no work. This is not an XP boost. This is a straight up, here's your level. Like, and he's gonna lecture Amazon about, you know, he's gonna have the moral high ground coming off of that to be like, oh, how dare they make people work for their XP? Like,
It does
you know,
kind of a bit like double standards there, right?
like, at least they're still having to put in an effort. You know, like, you know,
Like, I mean, I talked, I'd use this example previously, right? You know, there's situations, and there's you know, many instances where you can log in to PlanSide 2, right, on a weekend, and be sitting there with, like, you know, plus 600, plus 700 XP for like an entire weekend.
yeah. And I appreciate that, Big Bear. Like, you know, I mean,
Like
here's my thing. Like,
in
I'm also
percent.
not saying like let's shelve the pitchforks indefinitely. Like, I'm wholeheartedly saying that if Amazon crosses a line, and for every single person that line is a different you know degradation at this point. But for now, let's wait and see. Maybe they've got a plan here. Maybe they were sitting there and they're like, hey, we might do this thing off in the future, so we should like put it in there and be like, what do you guys think about it? As the alpha forums, let's have a logical discussion about this. Let's see what the community believes and where that line is, so that we can draw it early and have that logical discussion behind the NDA so that they can do those things. Instead, somebody felt, hey, no, screw these guys. It's going public. We riot. To the streets, my friends.
I have to wonder where these people were when like EA was basically like, you know, essentially, cashing in on people's psychological damage from all of the fucking, all of the what was it, the loot crates and loot crate kind of like selection boxes and shit like that they have, as
Your
well
was
as
done when you
as,
said EA.
as as well as Blizzard, to be honest. Where are these guys? Where were these guys? When it came to that, when it came to those sorts of things, fucking nowhere. And then someone, and then Amazon kind of like literally says that none of this, like for one, they're not doing loot boxes. Secondly, none of this stuff is performance enhancing. It's literally just increases the rate at which you gain XP, and that's it. Like and then they flip out and freak out about that. It's like, what the fuck, man?
Exactly. And it's like, should just the logical question, and people like oftentimes people will think that like I'm taking a standpoint because I say something. It's not necessarily the case. So like I'm looking at this from a logical perspective, from the industry perspective, from the 5,000 foot view of here's what every other game in the history of MMOs has done. Are we surprised that Amazon Game Studio is considering, like, let's go down the entire rabbit hole that they have a full-fledged plan of just doing this, like that? Let's go down that rabbit hole. Are we surprised that they are considering doing the exact same thing that the rest of the gaming industry has done, including single-player games like Assassin's Creed that literally sell, even though it's a single-player game, an XP multiplier? Like, should we be surprised by that?
We should. I mean, I don't think that we should be surprised by that. But like, what we should be surprised about that is that they haven't just decided to go, well, this is this is where the the monetization has started. Let's just skip to the current modern monetization that groups like EA and Blizzard are doing.
Mm-hmm.
And and try that out. And so, it's just like you do, and that's the one thing is like you do not want that.
Yeah.
So I am infinitely happier about Amazon going this route in terms of monetizing New World than the route that like currently is favored by EA and by Activision Blizzard.
Mm-hmm. Now I want to talk about subs again. People are like, well, had we have known this, we would have, I would have preferred them to go with the subscription route. In the audience, there are 36 of you at least. Someone please name me a subscription-based MMO that does not have a cash shop. I'll wait.
Get your Google food ready.
Anything? Nothing? Can't be done. There isn't one. Even EVE Online, $15 a month. Massive cash shop, still sells skills. Literally sells straight up skills. You know, like this is the stuff that I'm saying. Like, you know, even let's say you go the sub route. You know, this is the route that clearly you don't like money. Hey, it's Fade. Is that actually Fade?
Hey. It'd be cool if it is.
I like this guy. If this is Fade, I like this guy. You know, like.
But you know, you are right though. Like, you know, there isn't a subscription. There isn't an MMO with a subscription model that doesn't have a cash shop.
Exactly.
It just doesn't exist.
So, and here's the thing. You know, let's say you're paying for EVE Online. You're paying $180 a year, $15 a month, 12 months, $180. Awesome. This guy, I freaked him out one day because he didn't know that I was able to figure out who he was. It was a funny day. For me, at least. It was probably really scary for him. So $180 gets you EVE Online for a year. But you've also got to potentially pay some microtransactions on top of that because there's a cash shop. Now, in a perfect world, a sub-based system wouldn't have a cash shop because you're already paying him $15 a month. Everybody's paying him $50 a month. Like, hey, there's the money stream, right? Well, then you move over to the buy-to-play or the free-to-play, and they have a cash shop because they need reoccurring income to continually pay for developer costs and all that. Like, you know, it just makes sense, right? You know. Now, wouldn't you rather, at the end of the year, instead of paying $100... Oh, hey, thanks for the sub. Thanks for the sub, Fade. That's...
Nice.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Wouldn't you rather, instead of paying $180+, pay $40 or $50? $40 for the base game, $50 for the deluxe edition, plus a little bit in microtransactions if you want. There's a pretty big freaking delta there. You know,
and people, there are people who there are people who love cosmetics. Don't worry, Fade.
Don't worry. Your secret's safe with me. You know, like, you know, and that's the reality. Now, suddenly, between the sub to play and the you know, cash shop, buy to play, free to play, you know, you've got $100+ that you would be working with. You know, that you're not gonna, like, who spends $100 on a cash shop? I'm sure Fade here is like, but they will, won't they? Like, maybe, like, you know, there's gonna be some people, but like, I've never spent $100 on a cash shop. You know,
I'm pretty frugal, and I think I've probably spent, you know, like close to maybe 100, like in a single game kind of thing. Probably multiple hundreds in multiple games kind of thing. I mean, I know that I've bought, like, I know that, like, I rarely, if ever, give a crap about skins in, you know, something like EVE Online, but I have definitely bought, you know, packs of skins that, you know, one, because I think one of them was because it was a really sort of a really cool idea, because it was like a memoriam for a dev who passed away, right? And that was really cool.
yeah.
And there was another one which was literally a meme on Reddit, and it was so good because we were basically taking the piss out of Star Citizen, and I bought it literally because it was a meme, and because, like, you know, CCP at the time were, like, you know, hitting on all cylinders when it came to actually marketing skins in a sort of a trendy kind of way.
Yeah. So, you know, like,
so
I look at it from the perspective of, like, what's best for my wallet here. Like, you know, you got the subs are going to cost a ton of money, and unfortunately, the sub model still ends up with a cash shop. So if the end state of all of these different models, sub to play, buy to play, free to play, all end up with a cash shop that involves you buying something in microtransactions, like, one of them ends up with $100 extra that's just going out of your pocket. Like, you know, that's the end state for every sub to play game. which is unfortunate. Like, again, I'm not advocating that that's where the overall thing should be. Like the overall like gaming industry should be. Like, I wish that it wasn't. Like, I wish that we could go back to the 2000s where you could buy a game and get every expansion pack and every every update and every skin was in the game and all that. Like, that's my dream. You know, I'm tired. I'm tired of paying for the season pass. Like, but
you missed the ultimate edition pack, like
yeah.
versions of the games, right?
Yeah, the $120 comes with a statue and a whole bunch of other stuff type packs.
And every single DLC that could ever come from for the game.
But I'm also not like, I'm not going to hold it against Amazon for doing what the rest of the industry does. Especially the biggest concern that came out today was, hey, on launch, a mechanic like this would give an immense bonus to the people who used it because there's a market incentive, there's a bunch of things. But a few months later, it becomes a catch-up mechanic, not a get-ahead mechanic. So yeah. Do I think that it's reasonable for them to do this down the road? Possibly. There are caveats to that. Like, the specifically when it comes to crafting XP. Fundamentally speaking, to gain crafting XP faster at any rate means you are using much less resources. You're paying way less tax, and you're saving on a bunch of fronts that involve potentially other people's inputs. And that's where I have a problem, because that's paying to get ahead in a way that is much more significant. Now, do I think that the raw XP of getting to level 60 in itself is a problem? I don't. And I know that that's going to make me a minority in the community in some cases. And I'm okay with that.
So part of me kind of thinks like, what can you keep your like if you started out in the game and you grab the maximum pack, the maximum boost XP boost pack, like from the get-go, right? And you were sort of max leveling as fast as you can. Like, what is the things that you could keep your your initial advantage from? Like, what aspect of the game would you keep your advantage from after say a month, say 2 months? And I can't really think of anything apart from knowledge of the game, which, to be completely honest, as it degrades, like you may learn like the absolute niche kind of little things a little bit faster and easier than some of the other people who started the game a little later or didn't level as fast as you could, right? But I can't actually think of anything off the top of my head that you will keep your initial advantage of. Like, you don't even keep your initial advantage of if you made shitloads of gold, like, because there is a gold there's a gold cap now. Mm-hmm. There's an Azoth cap, there's a gold cap. Like, there's nothing that you gain in game apart from maybe getting top tier drops or the higher likelihood of top tier drops just because you've been playing for longer. But like that's always kind of a bit of a random draw. And on a long enough timeline, you're still going to have people who have worked to the point where they can actually craft top tier stuff. So there's no real advantage, as far as I can tell. There is zero advantage that you keep, for the for months upon months. So it's a moot point. Like,
exactly, and like I thought it was interesting that, like, I ended up in multiple discussions throughout the day with people that basically said a combination of two things. One, like, we hope Amazon is different. Like, they have the opportunity. Let's see if we as a community can break the mold. Like, let's see if we can make a game with zero amount of pay to win. And based on what they said, based on what leaked, their intention statement, we're committed on keeping the competitive systems fair and balanced for all customers, and purchases will not provide a competitive edge over another player who chooses not to purchase additional items. That statement says a lot. And if we can hit that mark, like, yeah. That's the dream. Now, as a community, we need to calmly explain and provide feedback in a meaningful way that isn't just, oh my god, of where that line is. What we view as too far. I've stated that, hey, crafting XP is a bit too far. I'm not against, the leveling to 60 XP, like, as long as it still work. What I am against, and let me be 100% clear when it comes to leveling XP, I'm against this. I always forget that the camera's inverted. This is a $60 pack in World of Warcraft that you can literally buy to just straight up be level 50. Like, we can all agree that that's wrong. That's sick and wrong.
Like, with literally zero effort on your part.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely. Yeah,
Like,
I can't. That's wrong.
The only effort is exit credit card, swipe, oh, I feel accomplished. Like, that's not accomplishment. That's, somebody wanted to skip into the end game content. Like, now,
busy dude,
Yeah.
living a very hectic, professional life, then maybe you don't have the time to grind to 60. But I'm just playing devil's advocate here, mate.
No, I agree with you. Now, here's the thing about time, and I talked about this a little bit earlier. Not everybody has the same amount of time. McLeod and I game a lot, but you look back at it, the average gamer per week puts in 8 hours and 27 minutes. Official study. That's up because of the pandemic. So that'll probably go back down a little bit, now that we can go outside and, with the new CDC mask guidance of vaccinated people don't have to wear masks inside or out.
I'm just saying, mate, that's less than 3, that's less than 3 straight ups.
Yeah, like, anybody who's played EVE Online is like 8.5 hours? What, like, so, like, 2 fleets?
You did that last night.
Yeah. Like getting leveled to level 60, think about the preview event. It took you 2 weeks, and a lot of people still didn't make it, and that was with what they admitted to of accelerated XP, because they wanted people to kind of get towards the end of the game and all that. Like, let's be real, 8.5 hours. Like, I think we made it to 60 right at the end of the 2 weeks. And that was playing a lot of New World. Like, that was way more than an hour, 8.5 hours. Like, but you think about it long term, these people are playing 8.5 hours, or less, because this is the median, or this is the average. That means there's a decent amount of people that play less than that. They still eventually want to make it to the end game. Does it really affect my gameplay if they level to 60 faster? Because in the process of doing that, they're, now, provided nowhere near launch, which we know is a thing because of their official responses stated that there's not going to be any boosts around launch of any kind. It's only going to be cosmetics in the store. Provided that caveat, does it really affect me in any way? Because as they're leveling twice as fast, sure, but killing an enemy doesn't get them any more gold. In fact, they're killing less enemies by the time they hit level 60, so they've got less money when they hit level 60 than I do. Doing it the normal way. Now, I've also got the sense of pride and accomplishment of doing it myself without having to, pay for the level.
No! Why did you use that phrase?
Had to be done. Had to be done. Now, the other person has what can only be referred to as a dent in their wallet. So, yeah. Now,
you do realize that getting a sense of pride and accomplishment is super easy, barely an inconvenience.
So if they're a higher level, will they be able to use better weapons and armor? Yes. That's part of it. But they also unlock other content that their friends might be playing at that time. So let's say somebody joins me, 6 months after launch, somebody joins the company that I'm running, and we get going and we get everybody having a good time, and they're struggling to level. And they're like, oh, I wish I could join you in invasions, level requirement level 50. I wish I could join you in Outpost Rush. Gotta be level, that's end game content. I wish I could join you for this expedition, but it's level 60 required for it. It's unfortunate. I guess we'll have to wait. Now, are they going to get access to that equipment faster? Yes, but here's the kicker. They're not doing it at launch, so by then, the majority of the community who starts at launch will have gotten to then anyways, if they choose to do it at all, because at this point in time, it is still we may do this. May. Which everybody forgets that that's in the sentence. We might do this. We're initially having the conversation with the community, but, we'll, yeah. And Big Bear, I 100% agree with that. A good leveling process teaches you how to play the game correctly and helps you find out what weapons you like.
I was going to say something
100%.
around this. Because, if you swipe your credit card and auto level to 60, right, you may not know jack shit about the game. What's good, what's bad, what's...
I know people who are level 60.
How you should construct your...
60 you still don't know dick about the game.
Yeah, how you should construct your loadout, your fit, and all that kind of stuff. How the mechanics kind of work in game when you're fighting, somebody who's a range player versus somebody who's a brawler. It's all of those sorts of things. It won't tell you that, but as Big Bear has kind of said, a good leveling process will teach you the game in the process of that. And the one thing that you can hope and pray from to be added to that experience is that it is a fun and enjoyable experience.
Mm-hmm. Do I think weapon XP boosts? I don't think that would be a good one to have in either. Mainly because over time you learn how to use the weapon better and better. And I think that it fundamentally takes away from the skill of being a level 20 spearman versus the skill of being a level 5 spearman when your first playthrough is dramatically different because of the experience that you've had to go through to get there. And
yeah, I think if you start playing the rapier, I think you can really tell the difference between a sort of a fairly new rapier player versus a seasoned kind of rapier player. It's definitely a weapon that requires a lot of understanding of the mechanics in order to really kind of excel at that particular weapon.
We're gonna show off some duels here. You know, being good with a weapon doesn't necessarily mean that you're like being like having a high skill with it also doesn't necessarily mean you're great with the weapon either, but it does at least require you to have used it in a decent amount. You know, every time I level a new character, I feel like I learn more about the game and get to explore different weapons and different levels and different areas. Like, the leveling experience is important. Like, and I think that, you know, I think that obviously Amazon realizes that, you know, coming out and stating, hey, you know, we're not putting these boosts in on launch because, hey, your guys, like, initial playthroughs of this should be clean playthroughs. You should, you know, be learning about the game. You should be gaining this additional knowledge, and it's not just a you know, there's more to it, and learning the game, the lore, the background of things, why they are the way they are. That I think is really big, and you know, I honestly think that they legit know that. And you know, as I've said before, like, you know, we had a really great experience with the Amarin Expedition special event for the creators, you know, to chat with some of them, you know, and like over the last 3 years, I've had great conversations with these guys. You know, they legitimately care. And I've said this before in this show, and I've said it before in other shows. They legitimately care about the game, and they legitimately care about the feedback. And like, those are fundamental reasons why I left EVE Online. Was I felt that the developers no longer cared about the game, and it showed because they didn't play the game. You know, in some of the content here, you know, some of the content after the fact here, like, I go and do some duels with a couple of the devs, and you know, as I've stated, I've got damn near 3,000 hours in this game, and they're competitive with me. That means they know their shit. Like, you know, you gotta know your shit at that point. I'm straight up skipping ahead so that I can get into a duel.
Okay.
You know, keeping distance and nuke. And burn. Yep. You know, like, in the short term, I think that, like, if we can keep it to cosmetics, that's a win for the start of the game. Long term, if we can keep it as minimal as physically possible. What do you recommend with the bow? The poison shot with the bow.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Hoofda. Like, if you're good with a bow, that has got some, you know, that's got some power. It's also pretty decent in PvP. The bow. I think Junie pulls one out at one point and teaches me a lesson with it. I kind of like how weapons are balanced. Like, you know, they felt balanced in the special event here. The fire staff feels a little strong because it can be very punishing if the timings are good. Like, if the person using it is good with understanding, like, how their weapons work, how their cooldowns work. But if they don't know how to maintain distance and close at the right times, then they're going to be boned. Use bow, I don't know, would be a second weapon. If you're going to use a bow, a rapier might be a good mix because it also goes off dex. Or throwing axe, or the hatchet would be a good one as well. But yeah, see which weapon does he have this time. You can see I'm prepping for the duel here. Bring him in, punish him a little with the ice storm if he wants to take out my tower. Slow him with that so that he takes a while to get there. We're having trouble applying damage because we have interference going on. And you can see that because Barkanides is trying to attack us, and both of us are skilled enough to dodge. But eventually he does hit us, and like if an NPC attempts to interfere in a fight, you'll see that flag where it says, "Hey, interference." So the duel doesn't have a winner. I think stuff like that, like they thought through a lot of this stuff, and it's really cool. No fake cast, so you can pseudo fake cast the incinerate, and I do it a couple of times where, like, if you're midway through screaming the word, you can still dodge and cancel the animation halfway through. So people are like, "Oh, he's doing it, quick dodge away," but it also doesn't cancel the cooldown. So like you then run up on him and nuke him, and they'll be like, "Oh wait, that didn't. Oh no." But like there is still a decent amount of like experience to be had, like in using the weapons at a high level. I did actually just let him hit me there. Like that wasn't just I didn't just stand there and then dodge, 4 seconds later. He wanted to make sure he could apply damage, so. Don't mind me just, walking away casually, drinking a monopot.
As you do.
Like, this was, like, I had a lot of fun in the Amarin expedition. I had a lot of fun afterwards. We had like some really cool opportunities to chat with the devs, talk with them about things, a couple of bits of feedback, and of course, seeing some of these systems, seeing the trade system, seeing the dual system, seeing the expedition system as a whole, like, Big Bear, I don't know if you were here for this, but IGN didn't make it past the first boss. In the expedition, like their group did not make it past the foreman Nakashima. So like, IGN shouldn't count, but at the same time, like, they're technically gamers, so like, there's gonna be a portion of the population that can't figure it out. And I mean,
there's also the fact that, like, we are getting like 5 other expeditions, when the game releases. So yeah, it's not just Amarin. It's
what's my favorite weapon? I would go with the ice gauntlet. I'm digging that. I've had a lot of fun with the spears, bows, muskets, and the fire staff and life staff, and I realized it just listed half the weapons in the game. But like, all of the weapons have a distinct feel. All of them have a distinct purpose. They have distinct counters, and very distinct play types. And I feel that that's I think that they've done a very good job at that. What's your least favorite weapon? Probably go with the hammer. I'm not a huge hammer fan.
And this game has like huge hammers.
It has huge hammers. Like they could scale the hammer down just like a little bit.
Yeah, 80%.
80%. Like, at this point, it's a piece of metal that's like the size of something
The
you're
size of
not
a
going
person's
to carry.
torso.
Yeah. But like,
If you've
I
ever
think
carried
that
a
it's
piece
also
of
not
metal,
powerful enough. Like, it's a weapon that I feel like should come with a lot of consequence. It should come with a lot of build up, but it should come with a lot more consequence than it has. I don't know how it currently plays, if I did, I couldn't talk about it because it'd be alpha related, and I didn't experience it in the expedition here, so I don't have a reference on it. But I hope that it takes on a more power heavy role in burst damage, I want to say. It does have a decent amount of like CC and stuff like that, so like it has its uses, but it's not. Yeah. I also think the Great Axe needs a little bit more like when I say consequence for taking a hit, like it's a big weapon, so like it should do a good amount of damage, but it also should have like the consequence of swinging your axe should be a long build up. Like it should telegraph, but at the same time, like because it telegraphs, it's also going to deal a bigger amount of damage. So catching people off guard, catching people, trying to do something that they shouldn't, is going to be punishable more by those.
and there's a degree of flailing that like actually existed, when it came to sort of armed combat, sort of armed melee combat, back in the olden times, that made things with a lot of mass, extremely dangerous to try and attack, because of that flailing ended up being extremely punishing if you came in at if you timed it incorrectly, timed your interjections into the fight badly, like it would punish people would just straight up get like their arm chopped off, their fucking head chopped off or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm. So I do want to take a moment here, because I haven't said it at all the entire stream here. But if you guys aren't following the stream, please hit that follow button. It costs you nothing, and it lets you know anytime we're streaming. If you don't want to get the notifications, hit the follow button and just hit the don't notify me. Like, you could set that up. It helps us out. Hits the follows. If you've got those Amazon Primes, like, we'll take those any day. Like, thank you, Match TV. That's awesome. Like,
That was that.
we do very much appreciate that. For people who have been watching us over the course of the last year and a half, or last January, so we're almost at a year and a half. Like, holy crap.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that Prime, by the way.
Thank you guys for the long-term support. Thank you guys for the new people coming in. Thank you guys for the people that are just catching us for the first time. We have put a lot of different efforts into creating this, and a lot of different efforts to get this to the point that it is at today. The stream today is almost unrecognizable compared to our first stream. And a lot of that would not be possible without your guys' support. So I want to thank our Patreons. I want to thank our supporters of all types. You guys are awesome. I want to thank Amazon Game Studio for providing some of the animations through the creator program, and obviously for the opportunity to record this footage in game and have kind of that special view of it. I wanna kind of wrap things up because we've been going for 2 hours and 17 minutes, and I had originally planned for a 30-minute stream, and I haven't eaten lunch or dinner, so um, you know, I'm dying. uh, you know, basically, I want to thank everybody. I want to take a moment and say, hey, you know, if you're looking for a place to talk about New World, we have a Discord. You know, that's a great place to have those conversations. We chat in there most days. I want to thank Asmongold for making a fool of himself, coming from a game that, you know, fundamentally screams pay to win with the, you know, level 50 straight up perk to that, and you know, being my punching bag for the afternoon. I want to thank Kira TV for jumping in way too early before an official comment could be made, so that I could you know, have a lot of the content that we got to cover today. You know, and you know, I mean, you know, Jeff Bezos is a good one to call out here too for you know, making Amazon Game Studio a thing. And Jas, it's something Jassy is the new guy, the guy who took over for Bezos, who also has committed to Amazon Game Studio publicly. Instead, we're going to keep doing it. So I'm pretty happy about that. And what else do we got? That's all I got for now. That said, I want to thank everybody for the awesome conversation. If you want to keep it up, we'll be in the Discord for a little bit after this. But I'm going to be cooking, so I'm going to switch headsets and stuff like that. But
yeah, you'll hear pots and pans if
yeah,
and stuff like that. So
you know, feel free, hang out. We'll be there. And all that said, again, thank you guys for joining us, and we'll see you in the New World.